Hey all, it's the Diplomat, and we are on part 29 of the Chris Watts Discovery read-through. And in this part, we're going to go through search and recovery of Celeste and Bella at the oil sites. We will go through the autopsies in this part. We'll also go through a lengthy conversation with Shanann's friend Cassie, including text messages between Cassie and Shanann, as well as Nickole, and then between Cassie and Chris. So let's begin here on page 613. This is from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and this is the execution of a search warrant, Survey 319, recovery of Celeste and Bella Watts. This is on August 16th, 2018, and the reporting law enforcement officer is Tammy, and backup is Stacy Galbraith. On Thursday, August 16th, I, Tammy Lee, responded to a remote crude oil tank battery site to assist with the recovery of Bella and Celeste Watts. Bella and Celeste had been dropped into separate crude oil tanks by their father, Christopher Watts, following their murders on Monday, August 13th. Okay, then we have Bella listed and Celeste listed, as well as Chris listed as suspect number 1. We have Michael Burson, the forensic pathologist, and Joey Weiner, the coroner. We have a number of officers listed. I won't go through all of them. There's about 10 to 12. Action taken. On Thursday, August 16th, I responded to Rogan, Colorado, where I met with CBI agent Stacy Galbraith, CBI agent in charge Kirby Lewis, CBI crime scene supervisor Dave Maloney, and CBI crime scene assistant Caitlin Schroeder. I also met with members of the Colorado State Patrol Hazardous Materials Section to include Sergeant Luke Armstrong, Trooper Otto Wilson, and Trooper Ted Bandy. The CSP Hazmat unit was asked to assist the CBI with the recovery of Bella and Celeste from the tank batteries. The location for the recovery was Survey 319, which was identified through GPS coordinates as 40.2, -104.3. The location was an oil well site, which was leased by Anadarko Petroleum. Anadarko was also the employer of Chris Watts. We were all escorted to the oil well site located north of Rogan by Anadarko employee Gerald. After arriving at the site, we met with CBI crime scene analyst David Yoakum, Frederick Police Department Detective Dave Baumover, Frederick Police Officer Scott Coonrod, and numerous employees of Anadarko Petroleum, DT Welding, and Northern Plains Trucking. Photographs of the sign-in sheet are attached. Everyone on scene received a safety briefing from Anadarko employee Brett. During the briefing, we were informed the east tank battery contained approximately 9 feet of crude oil and the west tank battery contained approximately 1.4 feet of crude oil. Brett advised they would first empty the east tank battery. So that was the battery with the 9 feet of crude oil, versus the other one having only 1.4. After the briefing, I walked over to the small, shallow grave where Chris's wife, Shanann Watts, had been exhumed the night before. There was an orange traffic cone near the open grave. I then assisted the CBI crime scene unit with conducting a grid search of the field surrounding the tank batteries. Items of potential evidence were flagged with bright-colored stakes. I also assisted with conducting a search of the area outside of the barbed wire fence surrounding the oil well site, but nothing was located. The weeds and sunflowers were thick, and it did not appear blankets and stuffed animals, previously mentioned by Chris as having been left near Shanann's grave, could have traveled that far in the wind. After the grid search was completed, I assisted with additional digging around Shanann's gravesite with shovels in an attempt to locate Bella and Celeste's blankets and stuffed animals. No blankets or stuffed animals were located. A short time later, Weld County Deputy Coroner Joey Weiner and forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Burson arrived on scene to assist with the recovery effort. We waited for the east tank battery to be offloaded into tanker trucks, which took approximately 6 hours due to the oil being methodically drained into a metal pan and then pumped into the tanker trucks through a filter. After almost all of the crude oil was removed from the tank, the rear manway cover of the tank was removed. Members of the CSP Hazmat team entered the east tank and recovered a deceased female child, later identified as Celeste Watts. Celeste was covered in oil and was brought out of the tank in a white decontamination box that had been affixed with rope handles. Celeste was wearing a pink nightgown, and I could see she was also wearing a pull-up. Once outside the tank, Dr. Burson patted her stomach area down with oil-absorbent pads. Celeste appeared to have skin slippage and was wrapped in a white sheet and then laid inside of an open body bag. After Celeste had been recovered, I left the scene and was not present during the recovery of Bella from the west tank. Investigation continues. There's a whole list of attachments, 20 of them, images of the sign-in sheets, image of removing the manway cover, as well as image of tank batteries and the shallow grave. So next we also have another CBI report. This is Autopsy of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, August 17th at McKee Medical Center in Loveland. That was on August 17th from 10 o'clock to 7 p.m. Reporting law enforcement officer is Tammy Lee, with backup Eric Bryant. On Friday, August 17th, Tammy Lee, responded to McKee Medical Center, which is located in North Boise Avenue in Loveland, Colorado, to attend the autopsies of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste Watts. Shanann, Bella, and Celeste were all murdered on Monday, August 13th, and dumped at an oil well site north of Rogan. Shanann's body had been recovered the evening of Wednesday, August 15th, from a clandestine grave. Bella and Celeste were recovered Thursday, August 16th, from inside separate crude oil tank batteries. This report documents my observations at the autopsies. Victim 1, Bella. Victim 2, Celeste. Victim 3, Shanann. Forensic pathologist Michael Burson. About 7 officers there. Action taken. On Friday, August 17th, at approximately 10 a.m., Tammy Lee, responded to McKee Medical Center, located in Loveland, Colorado, to attend the autopsies of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste. The autopsies were performed by Dr. Michael Burson and his assistant, Weld County Deputy Coroner Joey Weiner. Present during the autopsies were Weld County Coroner Carl Blesch, Weld County Chief Deputy District Attorney Steve Wren, Weld County Deputy District Attorney Patrick Roche, FBI Special Agent Graham Coder, and CBI Crime Scene Analyst Eric Bryant. Prior to the performance of the autopsies, Chief DDA Wren read an email aloud to Dr. Burson, which included a request by the public defender's DNA expert to have the necks of the victims swabbed, removal scrapings of the fingernails, and x-rays. The first autopsy performed was on Shanann Watts. Shanann had x-rays taken prior to the autopsy, and I informed Dr. Burson that Shanann had a prior neck surgery. Shanann was wearing a purple-gray t-shirt, black bra, and blue thong underwear, which were removed and collected as evidence. Shanann appeared to have a large amount of skin slippage and her amniotic sac protruding from her vaginal area. Dr. Burson examined the amniotic sac and removed Shanann's fetus. The fetus was collected as evidence, and CBI Laboratory Manager Aaron Koenig arrived during the autopsy to transport the fetus directly to the CBI's forensic laboratory. During Shanann's autopsy, Dr. Burson pointed out several important findings. Dr. Burson advised Shanann's hyoid bone was not broken, although he pointed out bruising to the soft tissue on the right side of the hyoid bone. Dr. Burson also noted bruising to the muscles and tissue in Shanann's neck. Dr. Burson advised he did not note any other trauma to Shanann's body and found no evidence of disease. Dr. Burson advised Shanann's preliminary cause of death was asphyxiation due to manual strangulation. The second autopsy performed was on 4-year-old Bella. Bella was dressed in a pink nightgown covered in butterflies and a pair of underwear, which were removed and collected as evidence. Bella also had a large amount of skin slippage. Bella was x-rayed, and there was concern she may have had a broken jaw. The x-rays were sent to a pediatric radiologist at Children's Hospital, who advised it appeared to be gas in the area of the jaw and not an actual fracture. It also appeared Bella had some scrapes to her buttocks and the tops of both shoulders. Dr. Burson pointed out several important findings. Dr. Burson advised Bella's frenulum, skin connecting the top lip to the gum, was torn, which created a large hole. The inside of Bella's gums and inner lip also appeared bruised, and it appeared Bella had bit into her tongue. Dr. Burson indicated Bella's injuries were consistent with hard downward pressure on her nose and mouth. Dr. Burson indicated Bella's death was violent, as it appeared she struggled to get away. Dr. Burson's preliminary cause of death for Bella was asphyxiation due to manual smothering. Dr. Burson did not note any bruising or injury to Bella's neck. The final autopsy performed was on 3-year-old Celeste. Celeste was dressed in a pink nightgown, Minnie Mouse underwear, and a pull-up. The nightgown and underwear were collected as evidence. Celeste had a large amount of skin slippage. Celeste did not have any obvious signs of injury or bruising to her neck area. I also did not observe any injury to Celeste's mouth or face to include petechia, which is a small red or purple spot caused by bleeding into the skin. Dr. Burson advised Celeste's preliminary cause of death was asphyxiation due to manual smothering. Dr. Burson also measured the hip and shoulder width of Bella and Celeste and advised the smallest width was Celeste at 9.5 inches. I was aware the opening to the hatch of the oil tank was only 8 inches in diameter. The items of evidence collected during the autopsy were packaged and turned over to Detective Balmover. Photographs from the autopsy taken by CSA Bryant are attached to this report along with sign-in sheets for each autopsy. Investigation continues. Number of attachments, sign-in sheets, and the autopsy photos, 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. Next is another CBI report. This is Cassie interview, Shanann's friend, and this is on August 15th at 10:50 to 12 by Stacy Galbraith. Action taken. Agent Galbraith interviewed Cassie, friend of Shanann Watts, by phone on August 15th at 10:50 a.m. Cassie has known Shanann for 2 years. They met through Thrive and have instantly clicked. Their relationship has grown into an amazing friendship, and they are like sisters. They talk every day. There are maybe 2 days a week where the two do not immediately exchange good morning texts of some type with another. It was insane to Cassie to hear that Shanann was missing. She said that it is not like Shanann to leave. She is OCD and very ritualistic in nature. Bella's first day back to school was to be August 13th, and she had already had her outfit planned. Shanann was excited and also had an OB appointment at 9 o'clock. Cassie described Shanann as quote-unquote distraught over the past weekend in Arizona. Shanann and Chris were having problems and Shanann was not eating. Cassie has known for about 4 weeks that Chris and Shanann were having problems. In Arizona, Cassie tried to see that Shanann was eating because of her blood sugar going low from not eating. Cassie is a nurse. When Shanann did not post after getting home, Cassie knew that was not like Shanann at all. Cassie said that if Shanann would have gone somewhere with the kids, she would never leave without EpiPens. Cassie said that Shanann just would not leave, period. Shanann works from home and was able to go to North Carolina to see family, friends, and grow her business. Before Shanann left for North Carolina, she and Chris were having sex 3 times a day. Shanann told Cassie that Chris just could not get enough of her. Within the first week that Shanann was in North Carolina, she and Chris were not even talking on the phone much. He was being very strange. Chris flew in the last week, and Shanann and the girls were in North Carolina, and they got a condo by the beach to spend time together as a family. In North Carolina, Shanann had told Cassie that Chris was very cold. He only called her Shanann, which he had not really done since they started dating. He usually only called her pet names like Honey or Babe. Chris would not hug Shanann or even hold her hand. He would not tell her he loved her. Shanann expressed to Cassie that Chris was a totally different person and was not the man she married 8 years ago. It was Chris that wanted a 3rd child. He is the one that talked Shanann into having a 3rd child. Based upon the information that Cassie gathered from Shanann, Cassie and her husband Josh both believed that Chris had probably been cheating on Shanann, but Cassie did not tell Shanann that she thought that. Cassie told me about a situation in North Carolina that resulted in an argument between Shanann and Chris's mother. It involved his mother having nut products, and Shanann decided she would not bring the kids back if they were in danger there with Cece's nut allergy. Chris's parents blocked Shanann on Facebook, and they did not attend Cece's birthday party in North Carolina. The last week Chris and Shanann were in North Carolina, he told her that he did not want the third baby, and was not in love with Shanann, and did not care about Shanann or the baby. He told Shanann that he had thought having a third baby would fix things. Once Shanann flew home to Colorado, she only texted Cassie because she did not want Chris to know she was discussing their problems with others. Cassie said that Chris is the submissive one in the marriage. Shanann had decided not to push Chris on the matter. Shanann set up a trip to Aspen for the weekend after Scottsdale so that she and Chris could have some us time. Before going to Arizona, Shanann had an ultrasound that revealed the gender of the baby Shanann was carrying. Nickole knew the gender and planned a gender reveal party. Shanann just asked Nickole to tell her the gender because she felt Chris was going to leave her and she needed to feel happy. Chris and Shanann decided to have their own gender reveal ceremony together, which was recorded and posted on Facebook. Cassie and her husband Josh noticed that Chris smiled but was not excited based upon his expressions. In Arizona, Shanann was broken and scared Chris was going to leave her. She was afraid he was going to take the kids from her. She was not eating, and it was heartbreaking for Cassie to see Shanann in that way. Cassie talked to Shanann and encouraged her to talk with Chris and to be calm. The texts from him were cold and not caring. Shanann had him on speaker for a phone call once, and Cassie heard that he did not want to talk to her. Shanann told me that this was not the Chris that she knew. He became very different. On Monday morning, when Cassie had not heard from Shanann, she talked with Nickole being in Colorado, could go look at Shanann's house. Cassie was on the phone with Nickole while she was doing this, using the camera on the phone for video. Shanann's car was there in the garage and Shanann was not answering. They grew concerned about Shanann's health. Nickole tried the code for the front door, but there was an internal door latch that prevented entry. The latch was there as Shanann was worried that her kids would open the door. Shanann's shoes were by the door, which was normal. Cassie started texting Chris. She told Chris that Nickole was at the house and they were concerned about Shanann. Chris told Nickole that he and Shanann were getting separated and told her that Shanann was fine. He told Nickole to leave the house. Cassie and Nickole knew Shanann had an OB appointment, and Nickole went to the office to see if Shanann had made it to her appointment, which she had not. This was not like Shanann at all. Cassie and Nickole decided they needed to call the police. Cassie texted Chris to get him to go to the house and told him they were calling the police. He insisted they were getting separated and things were okay. Cassie told Chris to get his ass to the house. Chris called Cassie and it sounded like he was driving. Chris told Cassie not to call the police. He said he did not want the police involved. He told Cassie he was sure Shanann was fine. Cassie warned Chris that if he was not there in 30 minutes, she was calling the police. Go Cassie. Nickole's son was going around the house trying to find an access point to go in and look for Shanann. 20 minutes passed and Cassie finally told Nickole to just call the police as they were wasting valuable time if Shanann was inside needing help. Police arrived and it had been 45 minutes. Chris should have already been there in Cassie's opinion with him driving from work. Before police were about to bust the door to make entry to check on Shanann, Chris was reached by phone and denied entry as he was right around the corner. When Chris arrived, the police, Chris, and Nickole went in to check for Shanann. Shanann's phone was located. Cassie insists that Shanann would have never left her phone and would have never left the kids' medication in the cupboard if she left the house. Shanann's purse on the counter did not add up to Cassie either. Cassie insisted that if we found out where Chris's truck went that morning, we would find Shanann and the kids. Cassie said that Shanann would not have left without contacting her or other friends. Shanann was an open person and would tell someone. Cassie knew of no problems Shanann may have had with other people. The only person in Colorado aware of Shanann and Chris's marriage problems is Nickole. Cassie felt like Shanann would go there if there were problems with Chris and Shanann had to leave. I asked about Chris's Facebook account and activity. Cassie said that Shanann would post for Chris. He never posted. He deleted his Facebook account while Shanann was in North Carolina. Cassie thought that Chris probably cheated on Shanann and deleted his account because of that. Shanann was looking forward to the first day of school on August 13th. She tried to change her flight to arrive home earlier, but it was going to be $300 more. Shanann said she was going to be exhausted. Shanann wakes up with Chris every morning at 4 a.m. for her morning routine. She showers, gets ready for the day,
gets the girls up and makes them breakfast and makes their beds. Cassie knew the kids' beds were messed up when Nickole went inside the house with police looking for Shanann. Cassie said that was definitely not normal. Shanann would have made the kids' beds. Concerned with the explanation of Chris about Shanann's whereabouts, Cassie said that Addie told her that Chris said Shanann left in the middle of the night. He supposedly told Nickole they were at a playdate. Cassie told me that Chris was never involved in matters such as contacting the kids' school. Only Shanann handled contacting the school. Primrose is a very nice school, and Shanann fought hard to get the kids into it. She would never risk losing their spot by not showing up for the first day. Cassie checked her text messages for dates pertaining to Shanann. Cassie believed Shanann was in North Carolina from June 27th through August 7th. Cassie told me that Chris did not sound worried when she was talking to him by phone on August 13th, trying to get him to go home to get into the house to check for Shanann. Cassie said that she was cussing him out trying to get him to go there. Cassie said that Chris later that day called her husband, Josh, to ask if he looked bad in the situation. Josh told him that he does and encouraged him to cooperate and to give police his cell phone and his truck. He asked Josh if he should go to work the next day or now. Josh told him it was up to him, but probably not since his wife and kids were missing. Josh and Cassie decided that something was wrong and that Chris was not the guy they knew. I asked Cassie if she knew anything of Chris and Shanann considering selling their house. Cassie told me that in Arizona, Shanann mentioned that Chris had oil field insight and knew wells were going to be drilled around the area of their housing area. This will cause their value to drop, and Shanann said Chris wanted to sell the house before the wells were drilled. Shanann said that they themselves were not worried about living near oil wells. She said she loves her home and did not want to leave it. Cassie told Shanann to talk with Chris about it, and she said she would, and said again how she loves their home. There was no plan in place to sell the house. Shanann said she planned to talk with the realtor Ann. Ann helped them get into the home they live in now. Cassie said that when Chris got to North Carolina, Shanann said he was very cold and did not hug her or anything. They had not talked much while she was there. Shanann thought that it was at first because of an argument between Shanann and Chris's mom. Chris told Shanann he had not been in love with her for a while and he thought about having another baby would fix it. In Arizona, Shanann had said Chris agreed to go to counseling. Shanann started looking for a counselor and sent Cassie lists of counselors in her insurance network to help Shanann decide on one. Shanann planned to talk with Cassie on Monday, August 13th, to decide. Shanann said she wanted to find an ugly dude counselor because she was so insecure given the problems she and Chris were having. I asked Cassie if Shanann ever mentioned life insurance policies. Shanann had not. She only mentioned that Chris's benefits had great coverages. I asked about Shanann and Chris's finances. Cassie said they did not have money rolling in, but Shanann did not speak of financial problems. Cassie never saw Shanann ordering from a menu based upon price alone. Before San Diego in June 2018, Shanann had hit the $80,000 link at Lavelle. Shanann had told Cassie that Chris loves the money when she gets paid every Tuesday. I asked if Chris changed in that he was spending more time away from home. Cassie said that Chris was an introvert and Shanann would have to push him to go have dinner or drinks with the guys. Chris was working out and running a lot more. He runs around the neighborhood. Cassie thought he had a gym membership, but she did not know where. Shanann got him weights and an elliptical for the house. Cassie said that Shanann wore the pants in the family. Cassie said that on Saturday night, Shanann was clear with her fear that Chris was cheating on her. Cassie talked with the babysitter and learned that Chris was not home from the baseball game yet. There was a charge alert that came through for a place about 15 minutes away from their house. It was over $60 and it did not sound right to Shanann. An hour after Shanann got the charge alert, Chris was still not home, though the place was 15 minutes from the house. Cassie and Nickole were also in fear that Chris was cheating on Shanann. Shanann then talked with Chris in the room, but did not drill him over it. Cassie said that Shanann is not the type of person to be able to hold her emotions in. Cassie said that Shanann did not say there was any mention of her and Chris separating before she left for Arizona. They agreed to counseling while she was there. Cassie said that Chris is a great guy, but there are no others to be concerned about regarding Shanann's disappearance. Cassie recalled Chris's voice when he was telling her not to get the police involved. Cassie told me that Chris refuses to drive the work truck onto the driveway because he was concerned with getting oil from the tires on the driveway. Cassie and Josh were staying at the Watts' house at the end of May 2018. Cassie offered to park on the street to allow Chris to park in the driveway, but he declined. He said that he never pulls into the driveway because he did not want any oil from the oil fields messing up the driveway. Cassie had learned it from Nickole that Chris backed his truck into the driveway on the morning of August 13th. Cassie said that when she was staying at their house, Chris never loaded or unloaded anything from his truck. They were there May 24th through May 28th, 2018. Cassie saw Chris come home from work Thursday evening and did not pull into the driveway. He left for work Friday morning and returned Friday evening without pulling into the driveway. He left for work Monday morning, Memorial Day, and his truck was gone before Cassie left. Cassie knew that Shanann would flip out if Chris opened the garage door in the morning because the girls were light sleepers, and she did not want the door to wake them. He used the front door to leave for work in the mornings. Cassie told me that her gut tells her that Shanann and the girls are not alive, because it is not possible given their pattern of life that she knows. Cassie forwarded me screenshots of her text communication pertinent to this case. Text between Cassie and Shanann. July 9th. Cassie asks Shanann about a post about CC and is concerned. These are all the 9th upcoming of July. Shanann replies to explain a disagreement with her mother-in-law regarding her children and allergies. Shanann says she wants Chris to say something to his mom about the food incidents, but his mom talks over him. Shanann says her and her mother-in-law, have had it out for 8 years. Shanann says she is different with her hubby is around and her daughter. Shanann says her daughter is the golden child and her kids. Shanann says Chris was chopped liver his whole life. Cassie suggests Chris confronting his mother. Now on July 15th. Shanann says she got home from Celeste's party and the in-laws were a no-show. Shanann says they are out of her kid's life now. Shanann says she wants to block them. Cassie says she would keep them on Facebook, but would not talk to them or make it a point to be around them for anything. Shanann says she does not ever want to see them again. August 3rd. Cassie asks Shanann if she got all of her messages. Shanann responds that she did and that it has been a rough day. Cassie asks why it was rough. They then discuss, possibly, a home, and Cassie says they do not want to be in their home for any longer than a month, as they do not want to put them out. Shanann says they would not put them out and that she cannot explain on text, and it is not a good time. August 5th. Shanann sends texts that she sent to Chris about the incident in North Carolina between her and his parents about their children. Shanann is not sorry for what she said to his mother and says that she loves her kids. Shanann then also addresses the distance between her and Chris in the text message. Also, she texted, in quotes, "From the day I left, you never said I missed you before I said it. Something changed when I left. You may be happier alone, and that's fine. You can be alone. This pregnancy, you have failed to acknowledge it or to acknowledge how I'm feeling. The first trimester is the scariest and most dangerous, yet we can lose this baby at any point till delivery. I'm not going to be treated this way for having the balls to protect our family and kids. I should get a gold effing medal for handling it the way I did. Because I had a lot of choice words I wanted to say to her and your dad for his stupidity. No one stands up to your mom and dad for that. He's just as guilty by not doing anything. I have nothing to do with him stop sharing memories of his grandkids. What does that have to do with me? I am their mother and I will protect them. I have enough to worry about in the world out there, and I'm not going to worry about family. I will just remove it." Shanann told Cassie that is what she texted Chris in the middle of the night. Cassie asked what Chris said, and Shanann said he said nothing, and then she said he replied that he loves the kids. He asked Shanann if the kids could see his parents, and she told him no. She said she is standing her ground. She said they have not made contact in 4 weeks, no show for her birthday party, and said nothing for her birthday. Cassie expressed that she is shocked that Chris had not said a word about what she said to him. Cassie said he needs to open up and talk to Shanann about everything, clear the air and work on it, then work on the issue with his parents. Shanann says she has been trying to talk to him for 4 days, and he has not said anything in return. Shanann says it is okay. Cassie asks if that is really what she and he wants. Shanann says it is not, but she also is not going to live like this. She is not going to be ignored and not loved. August 5th. Shanann says he is going to his parents tomorrow. Cassie suggests they talk with someone when they get home, as throwing away what they have together is not okay. Shanann says she cannot and will not fight alone. She needs a man that has the balls to protect his family even when it comes to his own blood. Shanann says he is a totally different person from the guy she has known for 8 years. Shanann says she would not change a thing and calls herself a saint for not telling his mom that she is a narcissistic, stupid bitch and just said they were done and never coming back. Discussion: they will see each other on Friday and will split the room. August 6th. Shanann says she is dizzy, lightheaded, and nauseous. She then says she has not pooped in weeks due to constipation. Shanann sends a screenshot of her flight itinerary. August 10th, 0700 Denver to Phoenix, 0750 hours. August 12th, 2045 hours, depart Phoenix. There is a do not disturb while driving text from Shanann to Cassie on August 6th. Shanann replies that Chris is driving, not her. Shanann said they were headed to see his grandma, and then she was taking the girls as he goes to his parents. Cassie asked if he was going to talk with them about the issue and work it out. Shanann replied in quotes, "Who knows? You can't protect someone you're not in love with anymore. He doesn't have the balls," end quote. Shanann tells Cassie that his parents do not love him the way he loves them, and that he is wanting their love and attention so much and they do not give it. He is seeking their approval, according to Shanann. Shanann tells Cassie that he is so cold and not the guy she has been with for the past 8 years. Cassie tells Shanann that she talked with Josh and he wanted to try to talk with Chris, but won't because he is not supposed to know what is going on. Shanann texted, in quotes, "I told him I don't know who this person is, but the person I left 7 weeks ago would have answered differently. Why are you married to me? Because we love each other. He said that's all he can think of to say at the moment. I told him why I married him and why I'm still married to him. With took a few photographs, not a mutual answer." Don't know what that means. "I said you love me because I'm the mother of your kids. You're not in love with me. I told him I think he enjoyed single life too well, and that I think he may realize he prefers to be alone. He's not in love with me. A person still madly in love can find what to say. He responded, I don't want to lose the kids. I walked away in tears since I couldn't take it anymore. If you are done, don't love me, don't want to work this out, not happy anymore, and only staying because of kids, I need you to tell me. I don't know how you fell out of love with me in 5.5 weeks, or if this has been going on for a long time, but you don't plan another baby if you're not in love. Kids don't deserve a broken family. I left you. You couldn't take your hands off me. You show up, and I have to practically ask for a kiss in the airport. Being away from you, it's not the help I missed because I can handle that. It was exhausting, but with school that's not hard. I missed the smell of you. You touching me when I'm cooking, you touching me in bed, you touching me, period. I missed holding you and snuggling with you. I missed eating with you, watching TV with you. I missed staring at you. I missed making love with you. I missed everything about you. I couldn't wait to touch you, hold you, kiss you, make love to you, smell you, laugh." End quote. Shanann said she texted him that the previous night after she could not take any more. Shanann told Cassie that she knows he is not good at conflict and avoids it at all cost, and is better at writing his feelings than talking them at times. Shanann planned to see how he was that night. Shanann told Cassie she told him that life is about making tough choices and that he cannot fight for someone he does not love. She told him he was going to have to step out of his comfort zone and defend and protect his family. Shanann said that all he said was that he knew. August 6th. Discussion about Cassie feeling sick and making sure Nickole gets lunch and a headshot if she wants, and RSVPs. August 7th. Cassie asks Shanann how everything was after Chris was at his parents' house. Shanann replied that it was a long story and that she was in the car on the way to the airport. Shanann says she will call Cassie tomorrow. August 8th. Shanann texts Cassie a photo of a house for sale and they discuss mortgage issues as Cassie has a foreclosure on her history. Shanann shares that Celeste is 37 pounds and Bella is 40. Cassie asks how the ultrasound went. Shanann replied in quotes, "He said we are not compatible anymore. He refused to hug me. Said he thought another baby would fix his feelings. Said he refused couples counseling." End quote. Cassie said that was a load of shit and Shanann said she could not take any more. He said that he had a lot of time to reflect his feelings and that he said a few months. Shanann did not get it. Shanann said that he has never called her Shanann till this week. Shanann said that Nickole knows. Shanann told Cassie she wants to know what fucking changed and there were no signs of anything wrong. Zero. There was sex all the time, talking, going places, and doing things. He just says he does not feel it anymore. Shanann asked Cassie how she makes him feel compatible again. Cassie asked if there is someone else, and Shanann told her he says no. Shanann asked if she could call Mark to talk with him, stating that he talks. Cassie tells her that she can. Shanann apologized and said that Bella came into her bed and did not even ask where Chris was. Shanann said that she thinks that Bella senses she is in pain. August 12th. Shanann sends a list of counselors to Cassie. Monday, August 13th, 0900 hours. Cassie texts Shanann asking how she is doing. No reply. Then at 10:03, Cassie texts Shanann that she is worried. No reply. Text between Cassie, Nickole, and Shanann. This is a group text thread. This is on August 8th, 9:52 a.m., Colorado time. Cassie texts Shanann and Nickole to ask if they would still be her friend if she lived in Boulder. After 6 texts about that, Shanann asks Nickole to tell her the sex of her baby, saying she needs happy news. They arrange for Nickole to tell Shanann in person, and Cassie wants to FaceTime it with them. Shanann tells Nickole to come early and that she is up at 6. Nickole asks what time Chris leaves. Shanann replies, "Dude needs sex. 6. Come whenever in AM, just not 11. Nickole asks what is at 11, and Shanann replied, quotes, "Too long," and a laughing emoji. They agree to go around 7:30 to 8 o'clock. Shanann texts to ask or tell someone to text Taylor about canceling the reveal. Nickole said she texted Taylor. Shanann tells them not to slip on Facebook, and she does not want anyone to know right now because Chris will then know and she wants him to want to know. Cassie replied, quotes, "Fuck him. Yup, I said it," end quote. Shanann replied, quotes, "I agree, Cass," end quote. Both Nickole and Cassie agreed to not post on Facebook. Shanann replied in quotes, "Please no. He doesn't deserve to know. He doesn't even want it, jackass. He's such a fucking liar. He said I think it would be great having another. He wanted this. He started the convo. You don't get me pregnant and not love me. What's that going to do?" End quote. Nickole encourages Shanann, stating that she is one of the strongest people she knows and knows she will get through this. Shanann replied in quotes, "Fuck him. I am nowhere near perfect, but I love unconditionally. To give my all. I do so much as a mom and wife. More than 90% of women out there. This fucking sucks so bad because I do love him and his fucking flaws." End quote. Cassie encouraged Shanann, and Shanann replied in quotes, "This was a total slap in the face. Stab in the back to the heart. I can't afford 3 kids alone in Colorado." End quote. Cassie and Nickole encouraged Shanann, and Shanann told them she loved them. They start chatting about Cassie and Josh moving into the house with Shanann. Shanann says the house is in Chris's name. They discuss that the court would make them sell it before Chris just gets it. They encourage Shanann further. Shanann replied that masturbating is an awesome stress reliever with a laughing and an I don't know emoji. Shanann said that when she asked him for a hug and to hold her tonight for a minute, he said he couldn't right now. Shanann said he's not there right now. Shanann sent a screenshot of what appears to be her texting Chris. Quotes, "Today, 6:09 a.m. Do you want to find out together with me tonight on the baby's gender?" Chris replied, "Yes," and Shanann loved his reply with a heart emoji. Shanann replied, "Please take 5 minutes today to write me and tell me how you are feeling. I love you, Chris, more than you know." Shanann texted that she offered it to him this morning and told Cassie and Nickole, in quotes, "I need us to work, and if he's wanting to know with me, I'm willing to wait. Can you put it in another envelope? I'd love to still see you," end quotes. Thursday, August 9th at 5:30 p.m., Cassie texted that her interview went amazingly and asked what happened with Shanann. Shanann replied that she was talking with Chris and would text them later. August 9th as well at 8:49 p.m., Cassie asks Shanann and Nickole how they are doing. Shanann replied that Chris wants to move to Brighton. Shanann texts in quotes, "Nickole Watts, we are not telling world till Monday. Tonight has been the best talk yet," end quotes. Texts are then about Arizona travel. Shanann texted landed with 3 sleeping emojis. Text between Cassie and Chris. Monday, 11:43 a.m. on August 13th. Cassie texts Chris to tell him she is worried and knows they are having problems, but she has never seen Shanann so broken to the extent that she is worried. Chris replied to Cassie, in quotes, "She went to a friend's house with the kids. She won't tell me where, though. When I get home, I will update you," end quote. Cassie tells Chris that her car and shoes and everything is at the house. She asks what is going on, that she would totally shut out everything, saying it is not like her. Chris replied in quotes, "I told Nickole about it so she wouldn't freak out anymore at the house. I think Christina knows as well. We talked last night and I told her I wanted to sell the house, get something smaller. Separation would be best right now if we can work through the issues. I really don't want you to think I'm a bad person, Cassie," end quote. Cassie replied that she did not care and was worried about Shanann's well-being. She told Chris that Nickole was calling the police due to their concern. Chris replied, "I'm going home, Cassie, on my way. Don't call the police. I will be there in 45 minutes. So that's where we're going to end part 29 on Discovery page 637, but I do have to say, I know Nickole has gotten a tremendous amount of accolades, and she should, and she deserves it. But Cassie was really, they were a team here, right? Cassie was doing a lot from where she was, not physically being there. And she was reeling on Chris, which is nice to see. And the learning here, I guess, for me, for all of us, is, we've read a lot of these things over and over again, right, in different interviews. And I think it's important because you see how much Shanann was having these conversations with so many different people. Everybody knew what was going on around her. So when all of a sudden she's gone and the kids are gone, this has been a huge build-up. And they all know, what's going on. They're not even really having to guess, because it was this final thing to happen in this culmination of problems, and they were getting fed all this information from Shanann over the course of weeks and months, and so they really knew what was going on. And how many of us have many people around us that know this amount of detail? They knew whether she made the kids' beds or not, which all turned out to be very helpful pieces of information. So I guess, if you are in a situation that doesn't feel right, relationship-wise or whatever, I think the learning here is to let people around you know what's going on, so that it's not you alone in the situation. You have other people to lean on, and they know information that could help in any kind of situation. So I think that's a big learning we got here from Shanann and her friends. In loving memory of Shanann, Bella Celeste, and Nico, God, please continue to bless the Rusek family. Hold them high in your palm of your hand. We ask for love and blessings to pour out on that family. This is The Diplomat. Have a great day.